Some ups and downs for week number 12. I'll tell you that. There's some ups and downs, but JSN brought the thunder. JSN brought the thunder. Jahmyr Gibbs brought more than the thunder. Jahmyr Gibbs brought one of the best running back scoring affairs in the history of fantasy football. We've got George Pickens doing work over on the side here as I watch the Cowboys try and beat the Philadelphia Eagles with 35 seconds left. This is a fantastic little ending of this game right here. Watching the Eagles lose is for some reason really fun. I'm not an anti-Eagle guy, but I think everybody's sick and tired of watching this paper tiger offense just skate by. We're breaking all of it down. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Jeanty finally doing work. Henderson still getting mistreated in New England. What do you do with that? A lot of people are going to be freaking out. We're going to break it all down and more. The Fantasy Football Show, the Pickens Celebration Show, the Jahmyr Gibbs Celebration Show, the JSN Celebration Show. No, some of you haters out there are going to get, oh, Smitty, so-and-so didn't good. He didn't have a good game. What are you going to do about this guy? What are you going to do about that guy? Well, Gibbs and JSN, no show higher on these two than this one. We're not letting you hold us down on this celebration affair as these two gentlemen bring a lot of your teams to Jupiter. Today. That show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Watching the end of this game, it's an exciting one. It is an exciting one for sure. They're getting this thing into position to kick a extra point. So yeah, I wonder who's carrying. Now, don't freak out when I hit this button and start crapping all over Lamb. I know everybody wants to, and we can talk about Lamb in a minute, but we're pressing this button for Pickens.
Deck attack. Lamb.
Pickens is fantastic. Hurts is upset. He's crying on the sideline with his little miniature shrunken down number 1 jersey as the Eagles definitely don't. This is what the Eagles do. The Eagles score 21 points. Their defense holds everybody down, and they win 21 whatever. They win by skating by. Jalen has had a good fantasy football day. That's for sure because he has 3 touchdowns, but that's how Jalen works. Jalen's good at fantasy. Is he the best quarterback in the league? I don't think he's even remotely close, but he's obviously good at fantasy, and that's something that's a totally different argument. JSN just absolutely continues to climb. JT dropping a dud of a game. If anybody can still trade, there's still some buy low opportunities. I imagine only about 20% of you can still trade. Can we take a poll in the chat right now? Everybody drop their opinion here, or their vote in the chat. Who here could still trade in at least one of their leagues? I just want to take a little quick poll walking into the next week to see how much even trade content we can even cover or should we cover. I just want to see where some of you are. We're watching the end of this game here. Dallas about to kick this field goal for the win. Let's see here. Here we go. 21-21, 3 seconds left. Dallas Cowboys kick the ball for the win. It's up. It's good. Dallas wins. Philly loses. This is what happens. Oh, a team is unstoppable. No one's going to take down the Philadelphia Eagles. They're the best team in the NFC. Well, I don't know about that. We've seen these teams rise and fall. Green Bay a few weeks ago was Super Bowl monsters, contenders. Detroit, then Detroit's not, then Detroit is. The truth is there's really no king of the NFC. It really will come down to what team is the healthiest and can win 3 straight games, etc., etc. That was a fun game to watch. Nice little ending, if I should say so myself. Let's go over the recap of this week as these games end and we await the potential start of this Sunday night affair. Let me pull up the Peacock app and just put the game on so I don't miss it because sometimes these games start. Jahmyr Gibbs was magnificent. Now, some people say, Smitty, how did you guys know that Gibbs was going to be as good as he was when he was back as a rookie drafted? Everybody's freaking out about Gibbs pre-NFL draft. We said he'd be a marvel. We said he'd be a top 3-4 running back in the National Football League before he even touched a football, before he even had a home in the NFL. Then when he got drafted to the Lions, he was going to be a top 1 to 3 running back. Smitty, is there any scientific data? And we said, yes, there is. It's not just running our mouth, it's science. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. Gibbs ran the ball 14 times. That's it. 14 times for 219 rushing yards. Sorry, 15 times. 15 times for 219 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. He also pulled in 11 receptions for 45 yards and another touchdown, bringing it to 3 touchdowns, 11 for 45, 219. Guy had a monster day on the ground and through the air. Just his receiving alone, 11 for 45 and 1 would be a day all on its own. This is a top 5 running back performance in fantasy football history. And everybody out there that has Gibbs probably won their week single-handedly from Gibbs. Gibbs went absolutely nuclear. The man lives on Jupiter.
Jupiter.
The man is one of the very first moon men on this channel, and he's a graduate, an extraordinaire. Handed people a W today single-handedly. Now, if you owned Jahmyr Gibbs and JSN like Miss Smitty did in Miss Smitty's league, you spanked everybody. This was a easy victory and a lambasting across the entire league. JSN 8 for 10, 167 and 2 touchdowns. Almost had a 3rd touchdown, by the way. JSN is single-handedly winning people weeks all by himself. If you had both these gentlemen, like many people watching the show do, you absolutely went nuclear today.
To Jupiter.
This guy was unbelievable. Both these gentlemen doing everyone very proudly in this Week 12 affair. There are other players that we must speak about, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 of 13, 149 and a touchdown. What a day by Amon-Ra. What a day by several players. And then you had these dud performances. There were a lot of them. It wasn't just one player. Jonathan Taylor pulling in 2 catches for 8 yards, rushing 16 times for 58 yards. This guy ran one more time than Jahmyr Gibbs. He had one more carry than Jahmyr Gibbs. 58 yards, 2 catches for 8 yards, no touchdowns. Was not the best matchup, but you expected more. It happens. It happens. Jahmyr Gibbs has had a day like this before, and people freak out. I don't know. What was everybody's vote as far as can you trade in your league still? Let me see if anybody, what did you guys vote? Vote again for me. I didn't catch the vote. Who here say yes or no? Fire emoji, thumb down, thumb up. Who can trade in their league moving into week 13? I just want to get a sense of what the percentage is. Take a little poll so I know how much trade content to even produce this week. How much in my speaking or what I cater to is trade related or not. So please let me know. Yes, yes, yeah. Thumbs down. Yes, yes. Thumbs down. Pickens is a league winner. That's for damn sure, bro. That's a correct statement right there. No, yes. It seems like more people can trade than I thought. Wow. Unbelievable. Guys, is this not at least 65, 70% yes? Travis, what is your best estimation? Let me find 2-3 people I trust to give me their guesstimation. Travis, give me your guesstimation as to what this looks like percentage-wise. Wolf, give me your guesstimation as well, and then Travis can look at what Wolf says, compare it with what he said, and then give me a really good solid number. It seems like this is at least a 65, 70% yes. I think at least for people that can still trade. Maybe 60%. Unbelievable. So I guess we're still going to talk a lot about trading. That means that trading for JT, while it might not be the easiest maneuver, the cheapest player, no one's a moron. They're not going to go out and just surrender Taylor as if he's dog water. But it is certainly going to be potentially one of those situations where you're able to get him a lot cheaper than you should. Now, where do I have Peacock? I'm so confused on all my streaming services. I think I have Peacock on Amazon Prime. I think I switched over. When the Black Friday stuff comes, I buy it all and I switch around, and then I got to go here and I got to go there. I don't even know where it is. Do I have Peacock on Amazon Prime? I think I have it on Amazon. No, I don't. Where do I have Peacock? I don't even know where I'm subscribing to it. I thought it was just on the Peacock app. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone at least. Otherwise, I'm going to miss the start of this game, and I'll just keep talking, and I'll have no idea what in the hell is going on. Remind me when the game's like 2 or 3 minutes before starting, and get my attention, because I probably won't see it. Let me pull up the YouTube live stream over here and switch to my phone. So Peacock, I got that pulled up. Okay, on my phone I'm logged in. I don't know what app I'm in on my phone, but all right, there we go. So we're good. I don't know if any of you have that problem. It's like you don't even know where to log in anymore. Travis, what was the vote on that? Rome isn't trash. Yeah, Rome's not trash. Even people that say CeeDee Lamb is trash, he's not trash. He's going through some dropsies, no doubt about it. But even that last touchdown throw there was multiple crossing defenders, and if you look at one of the angles, it was like boom, boom, and the ball, it did hit him in his hands, but I don't think he saw it go into his arms, because Dak did throw a pretty nice missile as players were crossing, and it literally just kind of landed in his arms, and he fumbled around with it. I think, unfortunately, he's getting judged. It looks like 55 to 60%. I think it's a really good number, and so I think we're going to go with 55 to 60% of you guys is what Travis came to his assessment. 55 to 60% of you can still trade right now. Walking into this, can still trade, which is crazy, but that means we're gonna do some trade advice. I mean, I'll try and keep it in mind that nearly half of you can't, so I want to make sure the content is, as I cater every answer, or we talk about stuff, it'll definitely cater to the fact that some of you can't trade. So what do you do? JT, we'll talk about what you could possibly pull off in a low ball scenario. Lamar Jackson, I'll take the L on this one, guys. I still very, very much believe he's going to come around at the cost of entry. By no means did I tell anybody to draft this man. Just like Henry, Barkley, and Lamar, these are 3 players that I'm interested in getting for pennies on the dollar or a lot lower value. But by no means did I tell anyone to draft Lamar. No, I told no one to draft. In fact, I said, don't draft Lamar, don't draft Henry, don't draft Barkley. But I am trading for all 3 of them. Barkley's suspect now. I don't know that I'm trading for Barkley anymore if you still are a part of this 50 to 60%. Barkley's probably just a total. We said it all off season. The reason you shouldn't draft him, trade for him on the cheap, sure, but the reason you shouldn't draft him, 430 carries last year was the easiest thing to see coming, that he could be on the struggle bus this year. Now, they didn't use him a lot, so it feels like he does have the ability to have some pop-off games. Maybe there's still some ability, but the problem is the offensive line is injured. They don't use him properly. That's not going to change. If you can't go off against the Dallas Cowboys, then Saquon Barkley's not going off at all. Now, I do believe at the cost of entry, no one should have drafted Lamar. We said don't draft Lamar, but you did trade for Lamar if you did trade for him at a very low cost of entry. Didn't have a good game. That's on me. I said he would. He didn't. That's on me. I said Tootin was a crafty, high-risk play. Nobody should have started Tootin over a really good option. Tootin was a very risky proposition coming off an injury, and it certainly didn't pay out dividends. But Lamar, I admit, I was very high on this week, and he did not deliver, but I still believe he could absolutely come around and have a very, very successful finish to the season. But we'll have to play this by ear. Certainly nobody should have, paid the old draft day pricing, and no one said to. So you got to make sure if you have another alternative, it is a lucrative opportunity. Jeanty finally doing Jeanty things. The poor guy can't get any room to run. This 2.9 yard per carry is not on Jeanty. at all. That's not his fault one single bit. The no touchdowns isn't on Jeanty. That's not his fault. Not one single bit. This man gets hit in the backfield before he even touches the football. And there's been all kinds of breakdowns, and I've looked at the film. I've seen people look at the film. I've seen all kinds of different breakdowns where this offensive line, they leave people unblocked. There's oftentimes every third or fourth play, maybe every other play, there are two linemen going for the same defensive player, and there's a wide open lane where a defender comes straight, untapped, unblocked, untouched, straight at Jeanty, straight at Geno. And this is an offensive line thing more than it's even a Geno thing. I'm not saying Geno is a world star, but this is an offensive line issue more than it's anything, which is a coaching issue because you should be able to fix a lot of these things, but this staff needs to be fired. It should be fired immediately. It should be fired today. But Jeanty at least getting 8 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown. A very nice affair for Jeanty in this game. Very, very solid. Absolutely love it. Smitty excuses hit different. Brosi says, Brosi, don't calm down on that. All right, let me put this over here. Jeanty, Justin Jefferson continues to just be as frustrated as we are. I mean, he's probably more frustrated than we are. This guy cannot catch a break, and his quarterback, J9, is awful. The worst quarterback in the National Football League. And the Vikings, we knew that the Vikings were not sold on him. And this is a near fireable offense because you knew that J9 was not good enough. You literally didn't commit to J9, which does anybody think he has a confidence problem? Did we not say all offseason to not invest in him as your starter, to leave this door open for Aaron Rodgers, to hide a key under the rock in the back of the house under the planter is for Aaron Rodgers is not confidence that you want to instill in your young quarterback that's going into what is essentially his rookie year because he missed all of last year. It just from the beginning, it smelled like they didn't trust him. They didn't want him, and yet they went with him. So it's absolute a fireable offense. And who knows what in the hell's in store for JJ. JJ just needs a quarterback. That's all JJ needs. JJ is one of the better buy lows in Dynasty Fantasy Football. We'll have a video on this just because I think people are so used to seeing, and CeeDee Lamb too. I'm going to do a video on buying CeeDee Lamb, buying JJ, do this in Dynasty. People are so used to seeing them do well, and they've seen it. They've been without it for so long. They're starting to realize, or they think they're realizing that maybe the value is not there anymore. Maybe the situation won't get better. Maybe Pickens is going to take over and Lamb's going to suck for the rest of his career. Maybe JJ will never, maybe he's not QB proof, which he is QB proof. Maybe J9's just that bad. Maybe the situation is just that bad, but he's not proving to be QB proof right now. And that scares the hell out of JJ owners. So JJ buy low, Lamb buy low. Pickens is a monster. Pickens going to the moon.
On the rise.
No doubt about it. What an offseason we're going to have with George Pickens. Video after video. We'll probably have 15 live streams alone on George Pickens in that situation. So hang tight on that. JJ, he's probably going to get tagged, George Pickens, and Jerry's probably going to just drag his feet, probably ask his agent not to be involved in any sort of contract negotiation. It's going to be a mess. We're going to have at least 15 live streams before draft day on George Pickens' contract situation as he gets tagged. Does he get tagged? Does he not get tagged? Okay, he got tagged. Now we go live. Is he going to get a contract? Now he's erasing his social media from all Dallas Cowboy information, and now all of a sudden we're live again. Oh, George Pickens put out a cryptic tweet. We're going to have maybe 20 George Pickens live streams, and I'm here for it. I can't wait for it. It's probably the most fun of the offseason I can think of. I love the offseason so much. Everyone here knows that no one comes close to offseason content like we do it. There's going to be so much. Pickens is definitely getting a bag, bro. Pickens is getting more than a bag, Jimmy. He's going to get like 2 bags. He's going to get 2 bags full of money. This guy's going to get paid through the roof, Jimmy. Derrick Henry, 21 totes, 64 yards. He's just not there anymore. But this, again, a good buy low. Don't draft him. You shouldn't have drafted him. I'm proud of you for not drafting him. We come in and we trade for him on the low, and we're getting him falling in the end zone. This is kind of what you can expect moving forward. You either get 1 or 2 touchdowns or you get nothing. You might have 1 out of every 5 or 6 games where he does break off 1 long 50, 60-yard touchdown run, just because if he does get an open space and he's running full speed, then, you can't tackle him even if he's slower, because he's so big, he just kind of just shoves you into the ground. And so he's going to have a carry like that soon. 70-yard scamper, 60-yard, and then he's over 100 yards. He's going to have one of those games every 4 or 5 games. But you just need him to fall in the end zone. 60 yards, 1 or 2 touchdowns, that's what you're getting. That's what you paid for. And he's certainly paying dividends for those that bought him at cellar dweller pricing. So congrats to anybody that had Derrick Henry today, but who knows what's in store next week, that's for sure. Drake Maye struggled. This is kind of what we talked about heading into the evening show last night, is that I kind of see Drake Maye struggling, but like holding it together, having some struggles, facing some good defenses. Not that the Bengals they played like a good defense though. And they just did. They came to play ball. And so I think Drake Maye will encounter struggles that he hasn't yet, but he's a good enough quarterback that I think he can overcome, compose, and end up winning games as they did. Now, Vrabel is the disappointment maker of the day. Vrabel should be ashamed of himself. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, Vrabel's winning though. And that is true. And you could say that he's doing good things other than manage his running back situation. But just because I end up driving to California from Arizona in a vehicle that I don't give an oil change, that I don't fix up properly, and I don't blow up, put air in the tires, I use the wrong gas, I abuse this vehicle over, but I make it, does it mean that I drove to California the best way possible? Just because Vrabel's winning doesn't mean Vrabel's winning the best way possible. Vrabel might be skating along when he could be lambasting along. And the fact that Vrabel doesn't know to use Trey Henderson, now he had 18 carries, but they didn't give him the ball in the right spots. They didn't trust him at the end zone or around the goal line. And it just made for a disgusting performance for a guy that got 18 totes. I mean, Gibbs got 15 carries and had 200 plus rushing yards. 18 carries instead of 15 carries, that's 3 for those doing the math. This guy had 3 more carries than Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs had 216 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Henderson's getting fed the bad work. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't promising that you get 18 carries. After the game, he ended up saying, we're going to continue to give Trey Henderson's getting the ball. And he said, but the other players will get the ball too. And if they're a hot hand, we're going to go with it. So you could take what he said 2 ways. He did say first things out of his mouth was Trey Henderson's getting the ball. That was good. But then the follow-up of just kind of telling you that the other running backs are going to stay involved is not the negative here. But there's still concern of how Vrabel's rotating these guys when there's fantasy football scoring opportunities at play. It's disgusting. It makes me feel like Vrabel's incompetent. I know they're winning. I know people are going to say he's such a good coach. And again, it comes down to, could he be winning better? It's incompetence not to understand that you've got a top 5 running back here. Now, no one should be benching Trey Henderson. Nobody. But I understand where you're concerned. I understand why you're mad. But we can't just keep benching players because they have one bad game after they have 2 very good games and be reactionary. That's like changing lanes on the freeway. When you change lanes, the lane you were in starts going fast. And then you get back in that lane, it goes slow again. And the lane that you were in goes fast. Like, you got to strategically, smartly change lanes when it's appropriate. Getting out of a guy that got 18 totes, didn't have the right carries, probably not the best decision. 18 carries is quite a bit. He also caught the ball. And he had a good little day in terms of getting fed. It just didn't produce numbers that we wanted. Look at Jahmyr Gibbs. If Jahmyr Gibbs had 3 less carries, if he didn't have those breakaway touchdown runs, would you be saying, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs only got 15 carries? No. So, and Henderson 3 games ago had 250-plus yard touchdown runs on, I think it was 14 carries. 1 less carry than what Jahmyr Gibbs just had, 15 carries, and he had well over 100 yards and 250-plus yard touchdown runs, one which was 69 yards. So it's easy to play this game of, oh, I knew it, woulda, shoulda, coulda, oh, I knew I should have done this, or 18 carries, but he didn't get the production, he's trash. Like, he's still getting 18 totes. 18 totes. Who the hell is at the front door right now? Who in the hell is at the front door right now? I think Miss Smitty might have ordered some groceries. We'll leave this here and watch just in case we got to run out there and assist. I don't know. Some people they pretend they're doing something. Ziggy, show me the front door. Ziggy turns off during the important part. He shows it to me, and then he shuts right off. Stay there. Stay there. Let's listen to him. What's he doing? What's he doing? Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's groceries. All right. He's leaving stuff and not taking it. So, you know, you always have to watch out for those porch pirates. You know, Amazon delivery comes, boom. Ziggy off. Okay, as for Drake Maye, 294 with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Looked really bad in spots in this game, not going to lie. There were some questionable throws. There was some questionable not using Trey Henderson as a safety blanket in net. Threw one ball right over Hendy's head. There were some questionable throws, but man, he did come around. Drake Maye is a baller, and this team still wins, which enables a lot of the bad things. That's the bad part about Vrabel, is when he ends up doing something bad and they win, it's like Vrabel just thinks he's doing all the right things. And it's frustrating to hear people say, but they're winning. Of course they're winning. I get it, but there's still better ways to win. He clearly doesn't understand his running situation. Clearly. And I don't care if it's not all his call. It is his call because the buck stops with him. Chase Brown rushed 19 times for 107 and had, I think it was like 2 catches for 20 yards, I believe, something like that. So this is one of those games we talked about where it's like, do you take the risk that Chase Brown accumulates all this yardage but doesn't get near the end zone or doesn't get a touchdown, which he didn't? And then you think, oh, what a great game, 100-yard rushing game. Oh, what a great game, 20 receiving yards, 2 receptions. At the end of the day, you're getting 10.7, not even 11 points for this 107-yard rushing affair, unless you're in bonus land. If you live in bonus land, then Chase was a much better player. He's always a good play when you can get receiving or 100-yard bonuses, etc. T. Higgins got concussed, had a head injury, a very bad head injury in this game. Probably going to miss a game. If I had to guess, this looks severe enough that he won't pass the protocol, but you never know. You never know. So T. Higgins, likely expect him to miss at least 1 game. Sometimes these guys, especially when they look severe on the field, they can miss 2 games. So this is going to make Ja'Marr Chase's value go up. However, this is the wrong timing because the Bengals need to win. I don't even know if it's possible anymore. Like, I don't know what the odds. Has anybody seen what the odds are for the Bengals to make the not the Super Bowl, make the playoffs? Is it even like what is the percentage? Joe Burrow's going to come back for what? This is good for Ja'Marr Chase, but is it? Because now defenses will just try and double team Ja'Marr. Who knows? But we'll monitor this. There's a shot he comes back and doesn't miss any time, but very unlikely, I would say. This right here from Breece Hall, 16 times, 44 yards. He ran the ball, 4 receptions for 75 yards. Again, a nice total yard affair, but without touchdowns, it does, hamper him a little bit. But the 4 receptions does help him full PPR. So not a bad day at the office. Not the easiest start because the Jets are hard to predict. Mahomes absolutely crapped the bed. But if you watch this game and you're not box score bobbing it, none of this was his fault. This man did everything he could. And you can blame him all you want, but he had people dropping touchdown. He should have 3 or 4 touchdowns in this game. He actually stopped throwing for a little while and just ran the ball. Kept running the ball because he didn't trust anybody to hold on to it. So before you say Mahomes is trash, Mahomes is cheeks, I'm cutting Mahomes, I know Mahomes is bad. Mahomes didn't do a single thing wrong in this game. Those footballs kept getting dropped. He kept getting penalty after penalty. None of it was his fault. I know the outcome doesn't change, but none of it was his fault. He carried this team on his back. The 1 interception you could call his fault, but 352 should have had 3 or 4 touchdowns in this game. And they end up winning in overtime. He did his very best. Rashee Rice was a monster with 140 yards in this game. Rashee Rice is just a beast. Wan'Dale Robinson, what a nice play. 9 of 14, 156 and a touchdown. Winston looked like a magician out there. I mean, yeah, he throws some bad passes here and there, but boy, did he bring the thunder. Winston was absolutely incredible for the most part. in that game, considering what he was dealing with, what he was working with. We've got the Falcons and Saints. I can put that box score up. Let's box score Bobby this real quick, and then we'll get to the Super Chats, and then the game's going to be starting here any second. So let me just grab this real quickly. Falcons win 24-10. Here is the box score. Let me box score Bobby this real quickly and put this on screen here. There's that. Here is the box score for this particular contest. There it is. Kirk Cousins, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Bijan Robinson, 70 yards. This is exactly what we feared, that this team would be so bad with Kirk Cousins. They would, games get, they'd be in some sort of like, games, even with the win, they game scripted out the rush. It was 14 carries. Then they give Algier 12 carries, which just is inexcusable. And Bijan catching 2 for 37 was nice, but they just didn't give him the work. This is a putrid offense. Now, granted, it didn't have London. London coming back will make for a more dynamic passing attack, even with Kirk Cousins, who did have 2 touchdowns in this game, but it was the New Orleans Saints. This is like playing a Pop Warner team. So we don't even know what this team could really look like in the coming weeks, because this is the Saints. The Saints are awful. 9 catches for 70 yards for Olave. Kamara, 3 for 11. Kamara is just falling apart, just like we predicted all offseason when we said this will probably be a Joe Mixon year, or once you hit double-digit weeks, you want nothing to do with Kamara. If you do draft him, trade him by double-digit weeks. His age, the mileage, it mirrored exactly the blueprint of Joe Mixon's fall-off last year, where Mixon was fantastic until double-digit weeks, and then he fell off the face of the earth. I want nothing to do with Kamara moving forward. So there's that game, the Falcons and Saints game. We've got, I'm trying to put these afternoon games up on screen. The Cowboys, let's go through that box score real quickly. I know some of you are really, really upset at CeeDee Lamb. I understand why. And if you could trade for Lamb, I would do it. I know a lot of you are seriously upset at him right now. And if you own him, you're not really in the business of probably trading him for what? Sell him low? But if you don't have him and you can still trade, and it looks like 55 to 60% of you can still trade this week, which is such a wild number. He's a great buy low. Pickens, 146 and a touchdown on that bottom right corner. CeeDee Lamb, 4 for 75. Dropped the ball quite a bit in this game. Javonte Williams, 20 totes for 87 yards. Just kind of one of those lackluster, fantasy outcomes, even though he's heavily involved in ripping off 4.4 carry. Dak, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, 354 passing. A.J. Brown, we knew this is the game. All morning we were asked, do I start A.J. Brown, do I not? It's like, this is the one game you trust him. This is the one game you trust A.J. Brown. Even though we don't trust Jalen Hurts, this is the one game. If A.J. Brown can't do it against the Dallas Cowboys, he can't do it ever. So this was an easy play for most of you. 8 for 110. Had a second touchdown, but he stepped out when before he hit the pylon. He didn't get his second foot in. Devontae Smith, 89 yards on 6 totes. Barkley, 7 for 52. Was really only Barkley's salvage moment there was the receiving production. Hurts, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 touchdown via the air, 289 passing. Very much salvaged his fantasy day, but Hurts got owned in this game essentially, even though he did well fantasy-wise. It was not a very good outing for the Eagles, and they were proved to be, you could say they very much are paper tigers if their defense isn't pulling the weight. They just don't, they're just a one-dimensional team. Let me go over to this next screen. Doesn't mean they won't go far, doesn't mean they won't win the NFC Championship game. Like, they certainly can. We got 2 more games that I want to review here from the afternoon games. This one here is the Jaguars and Cardinals. And wow, I don't think it's loading right now. So let me come back to that game, and hopefully I can get that box score in a second. Looks like box score Bobbies are not allowing us to see that game right now. Hold on. Let me get to this last one. We'll go to the Raiders game where Ashton Jeanty was making fantasy football owners proud for the first time in a long time, because Jeanty has been a very big disappointment. Not that it's his fault, but he lives in that situation, and it is what it is. You can't just sit here and make excuses for Jeanty's production. We need him to produce. He's not producing. It is what it is. But Jeanty produced in this one. I imagine that he'll be able to do this from time to time. He will be sporadic from time to time. If he's not given the receiving work, he's probably not going to produce. 50 rushing yards, 2.9 a carry. Not his fault. This is the offensive line. Jeanty, 8 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Fantastic. Brock Bowers, 6 for 55. Nothing. Good buy low. If you can trade 50 to 60% of you can trade, I would still buy Brock Bowers low. Dylan Sampson, 2 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Look at Shador. Shador, 209, 1 INT, yeah, but 1 touchdown. And what a remarkable throw it was downfield when he tossed that ball that set up the second Judkins Wildcat touchdown. Judkins, 16 for 47, not good yardage-wise, but 2 touchdowns as we predicted all week that Judkins could have that 2 TD game. Isaiah Bond was the leading receiver. Dylan Sampson's a running back, but he caught 2 for 59 and a touch. Sampson looked really good. Sampson looked really fast. I have a feeling they're going to use Sampson a little more. And he's always been such a dynamic running back. One of our favorite running backs from the draft class, if you remember. Hopefully they continue to use him. He is very, very dynamic. Love the kid. And then let's go back to the last game just to recap, and then we'll have everything kind of recap. I'll hit the super chats, and the game's going to start here in a second. This one, Cardinal game, right? Cardinal box score. Let's pull that bad boy up. Is it loading yet? Give us the box score. There it is. The box score is loading. There's Trevor Lawrence. Trevor had 3 TDs in this game. You know, you watch Trevor Lawrence, and it's like 1 minute he looks like trash. The next minute he looks okay. And then you wonder how much of it is Trevor Lawrence, how much of it is the situation. And then he reminds you he's trash again. Then he looks good for 1 second, 1 play. He can produce. ETN 15 for 86. ETN down here 3 for 30 and a touchdown. Tootin was nowhere to be found. I'll wear that L. I'm sorry about it, guys. 7 carries, 17 yards. He got roughly half the carries that Jahmyr Gibbs got, but sometimes it doesn't go your way. Strange, 93 yards on 5 catches. Parker Washington, 71 and a touch. Jacoby Myers, 50 and a touch. Travis Etienne got that other third touchdown by Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, 3 INTs, gets the win. Cardinals, despicable performance one moment and then good the next moment, then despicable, then good. Jacoby Brissett got hurt, came back into the game. Brissett, 317 and a touchdown. Michael Carter, 28 yards. Nothing on the ground here. Bam got a touchdown, but not a big deal. Michael Wilson continues to get fed now. MHJ, does he return next week? Does he return next? We don't know when MHJ is coming back, but until he comes back, Brissett's going to keep targeting Michael Wilson. 15 targets, 10 receptions, 118. This guy feels like a lock for like 10 targets at least, 80 yards, and a strong shot at a touchdown in a bad outing. McBride, 9 for 79, no touchdown. Greg Dortch got the lone touchdown pass from Brissett, and Dortch had 53 yards. So that's everything that happened for the most part. I wanted to recap it. Rashee Rice, we didn't get that one. Let me go to that box score real quickly and just show you how good Rashee Rice did if you missed it. Rice was phenomenal. He did have what appeared to be maybe a hamstring issue, but it looks like he might have just had some cramping. So we're awaiting that. He came back into the game, looked fantastic. I don't think he actually had any sort of injury other than just cramping, but we'll find out because usually you do not return to the game. Like it doesn't make much sense when people are saying he has a big hamstring injury. It's like the guy was all over the field. Like it might have some tightness, and the tightness would be concerning to turn into a tear or something, but it'd have to be cramping for the most part. JT, as I talked about earlier, 58 yards. Tyler Warren, 5 for 45. Pittman, 27 and got the touchdown. Ogletree, I didn't even know Ogletree was still in the league. 1 touchdown. So Daniel Jones' 2 touchdowns are accounted for right there. JT just non-existent in this game. It was a shameful usage of JT for sure. On this side of the football, again, Patrick Mahomes woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'm not trying to make excuses for Mahomes, but he did everything he could. Everybody kept dropping the ball. Should have had 3-4 touchdowns in this game. It was absolutely frustrating to watch this game. I wanted to stop watching it. I've kept feeling like because I'm watching it, this is happening. Like the simulation feeling. Like I know Mahomes is going to have the penalty here on this long run. There's laundry. You know, I know this ball is going to get dropped. It's missile downfield dropped. I know this touchdown throw is going to get dropped. It's just the Chiefs couldn't do anything but disappoint Patrick Mahomes, and he started running by himself for a little while. This 4 for 30 on the ground. But Rice was phenomenal. 12 targets, 8 for 141. Wish he had a touchdown. Should have had at least 1 touchdown. Didn't happen. You know, even Rice was dropping the ball. So it is what it is. But that's all of the production. Let me go through these super chats. The game is getting close to kicking off here. I got a $20 hauler from BBQ. I got a $20 hauler from Jason. Let's see what these bad boys are going to say with their super chat send. Let's roll through the rest of them. I don't think we'll have time for phone calls, but we will be back for the waiver wire and Sunday Night Football wrap-up show. I know you are a CMC hater. I'm not a CMC hater. I'm not a CMC hater. First of all, we've promoted CMC on this show in years past, and I'm not a CMC hater at all. Sometimes I'm critical of Shanahan, which makes me look like I hate the Niners. I don't. We promoted Niner players all the time. But I have him because I'm a fan. And Kyron to play down 39.12 with my opponent has Ibuka left. Do I have a shot here? Of course you do. Whenever you have Christian McCaffrey, you have a shot of scoring 30 or 40 points. Ibuka has been struggling, but I do think he has a great day. I think you're going to have a fantastic shot here, bro. 39 points with those two monsters left. You have Kyron and CMC. I think you got a good shot. One of those guys could score that alone, and then you just 1 versus 1 at that point. Pickens is a contested catch guy with elite talent and ball tracking skills. His route tree is expanded in Dallas. Lamb is an elite wide receiver, but he drops and lacks the concentration, and it's inexcusable this year. Pickens is outplaying Lamb. He certainly is. That's for sure. But I do think that there's opportunity here to buy Lamb in Dynasty, or if you can still trade, and again, 50 to 60% of people can still trade walking into week number 13. So I think you need to take advantage of buying Lamb low if he's being sold by people that want to give up on him. But he's definitely having a struggle bus year right now, and Pickens is kind of getting in his way. It does feel. Emmanuel Wilson erupted for me. Great call, Smitty. Well, some of you I said start Emmanuel Wilson. Some of you I said don't because you had different options. But so I'm not going to sit here and pretend every question I answered was yes, start Emmanuel Wilson. But for you, congrats on that call. It was a tough call between some of your players. Some of you guys had such a tough decision. Like Sean Tucker, Emmanuel Wilson, that was one where I didn't always say Emmanuel Wilson. So we'll see what Sean Tucker does here. I'm headed into the 10-man league. I'm alive. Thank you, Rise Above. Appreciate you dropping that super chat, the man, the myth, the legend. Can you please drop a Ibuka song? We'll definitely do that here on the way out the door. Appreciate you very much. Racing Boy says, I'll take my lap. Smitty started Tootin and Jeanty over Jeanty. Still got the dub, though. Yeah, I mean, like I said, just for the record, there's some of you in the comments are going crazy saying, how could you even consider this? You consider it because Tootin just had a touchdown and 70 yards, so you have the conversation. But ultimately, the answer was to start Jeanty. We said that. Jeanty was safer than Tootin. Nobody should have been starting Tootin over Jeanty, but a conversation was had. And the conversation determined that with the injury, probably not the best move. Now, if you had Tootin versus another scrub or a waiver wire guy, Tootin was the call for me all morning long. It didn't work out. But that was only if it was a scrub or a much lower player. Jeanty was the absolute best choice at the end of the day. But conversations need to be had when you're talking about rising stars like Tootin. And Tootin's still a rising star. Fickle Freddy's will act like he's waiver wire fodder. And good, cut him. I hope you drop him. Buka with the reception. There's no offseason with Smitty. That's damn straight. I don't care what's going on. I don't care how good or bad or whatever a week's going for anyone, including me, you, anybody. We're always here. We're always going to deliver. And we got a whole offseason ahead. Traded my Brees and Pickens for Gibbs and Devontae. Smitty approved. Absolutely, bro. Nice. I love Gibbs, but you're taking Gibbs. I'm sorry, I love Pickens, but you're taking Gibbs all day. Smitty approved. We have St. Brown and Nico. Running backs are Gibbs, Hendy, Woody, Tootin. Nice job. That's absolute lambasting, bro. Fumbled the bag. Kind of started Dak over Brissett. Bro, you couldn't have known, either side of that. Rock out. I meant started Jacoby Brissett over Dak. Oh. Either way, you couldn't have known. There was a tough call between the two. If Hendy had a TD, he just missed out on a bet. People had a lot worried. Plus side is he still looks like the lead back even on Vrabel's team. Yes, I mean if he had a touchdown, and he almost did. He got down to the 1 yard line. He almost had 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, I know it's easy to be like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? But he scored, it would have been a different day. 70 and a touch. Everyone would have been plenty happy with it. Baker scrolling to the right. Makes a little spin move. Nice little move there. Dynasty 12-team PPR, 1.0 tight end premium. Superflex, Neighbors plus Harvey. B, Hampton, Gadsden, 26. 1.2 could be the pick. 27 early first. You know, I guess, guys, would you take Harvey and Neighbors or Hampton, a likely 1.2 and an early 27 first? I'd probably take Hampton and the 2 first rounders, only because it could take Neighbors a year to get back to full strength. Harvey, you don't know what you have yet. I still like him, but that's got to be the 1.2 like you're saying. If it ends up being like the 1.8, I'm not really as on board with it at the end of the day, bro. So, you know, if you're being accurate with that projection, then I'm fine with that side, especially in a super flex. We're going to have a lot of box score bobbies with Hendy, absolutely. But in reality, he was a half yard from a 17 to 18 point day. Yes, that's the thing. He didn't score. If he did, it was 70 and a touch. And he still caught footballs. And yeah, it is what it is. He didn't score. If he scored, everybody would be so excited. They'd be like, oh, he's the best ever. And he's 1 yard away, less than a yard away. In Dynasty, would you trade for Pickens? Absolutely. I'm thinking of trading Neighbors for him so I have Puka. I mean, you got to get way more, bro. You can't just... Pickens is fantastic, but you can't trade Neighbors for him straight up. But I don't mind you concocting a trade that gets you into like a first-round pick on top of that, or some other potential player swap move. And Buka! Oh, it's almost a touchdown for Book! Almost a touchdown for Book! Throw it a little bit further, Baker! Lead your Buka! Lead your Buka! Where's my Buka song? Let's trigger some sort of fantastic Buka affair. Do it live.
Mecca and Buka, he is him. Buka is fast. With Buka you will win. Mecca is a rocket ship. Mecca, he's our man.
Lead the man. Lead him.
He is Buka, hear him roar. Let's just score, let's score some more. Buka is a rocket ship. Buka, he's our man.
Why couldn't he just let him? If he just let him, it would have been okay. But instead, he makes Buka go into contested catch territory when he didn't need to. Oh, God, Baker. Baker's not in the kitchen entirely. He's like cooking in like the little casita. You know, little casita's kitchen. He's not in the full kitchen right now. He's getting better. He's getting back on track for sure. But I think Bucky will be a potential puzzle piece that will help put this thing back together. But let's see Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker looks like he's the full-time guy. He's out there pretty much the whole time. Okay, let's see here. We got, as I say that, Rashad White comes in the game. Baker scrambling. What was that? What was that throw? 4th down. What was that by Baker? I feel like Baker's turning into Darnold all of a sudden. Like, what is going on? Stafford getting his helmet on. I mean, that was pathetic. All right, guys, we'll be back for the wrap-up show. Appreciate every single one of you. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. You guys make the show. If you weren't here, I'd be talking to I probably am talking to a wall. I always say I might be in a padded room and I have no idea I don't have a show. I think I have a show. And I'm just screaming and yelling and people are looking through the window. They're like, look at this guy. What's he think he's doing? I think he thinks he's on a YouTube show or something. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. I'll see you all. Don't forget, we're on the Patreon 24/7, 365. Here's the link for the Patreon. Hit the link. Do it live. Join the Patreon 365, 24/7. There's the link. Boom. Do it live. Hit the link. Join the family. And we'll be back for the wrap-up show and the waiver wire show. Thank you all for the super chats. Thank you to my moderators. I'll see you all after the game. Appreciate you. Giancarlo Torres dropping a very, very late super chat. I almost hit that button, bro. Dynasty trade, which side do you take? Achane Higgins, 26 first rounder, or James Cook, Bucky, Garrett Wilson? Woo, doggy. I think 28 first rounder or James Cook, Bucky, Garrett. Give me the Achane side. Yeah, I mean arguable, but give me the Achane side. I wavered a little bit. You do have to look at it. You can definitely argue both sides. All right, see you all after the wrap-up show. Thank you, Giancarlo Torres. Appreciate you very much. Dose.